All right, what's going on, guys? This is Chris Parsons. I'm with my co-host JP Fluellen, and thanks for joining us yet again for another episode of Success Agent Podcast, where we're going to talk about strategies to help real estate agents sell more homes while spending less time and less money to do so with automation. Now, you can catch us here live every single Wednesday just on this Facebook page, and it's our only focus to create content for you to feast on, which is really designed to help supercharge your efforts and really maximize your results so that you can really scale to the level that you've been looking for. And we really don't mess around here because we want the same as you, which is to figure out that catalyst to success. So this month, the month of January, we've been focusing on the basics of business, such as setting priorities and outlining your goals into really actionable items. Last week, we looked at something called the 411, which is really just a simple exercise or tool to help kind of outline how you want your year to go and then create steps to get to where you want to be. And today we're going to be further building on that kind of thing, but we're actually going to be focusing on generating more business from a very profitable source, which everyone has, and it's called your sphere of influence or your sphere. Why don't you real quickly tell us what the sphere is, JP?
So your sphere, or another word to call it, is your SOI, which is kind of a familiar term for a lot of real estate agents. But that really is your sphere of influence, your SOI. So these are the people that may have done a deal with you or may haven't done a deal with you, but you know them. You could call them if you were to give them a call and say, hey, do you know anybody that might be looking to buy or sell here in the near future? And they wouldn't think it's weird. These are your people that you have some influence in their life at some level. Talking to people at the grocery store, not necessarily your sphere of influence, but like these are like people that are part of like PTLs or part of the church organizations that you're with, or these are people that you see at the gym. These are people that you just hang out with on a regular basis, a drinking buddy or something like that, or these are people that you can have direct influence on them and they would be happy to send you business. But what happens is, in real estate, the further along you get, the more busier you get, the chances of being able to stay on top of these relationships become things of the past because you're trying to drive your business forward and you forget to have these ongoing relationships going on for people that could give you business, and would be happy to give you business and not try to think that there's some way that they got to get something out of it.
Right.
And so what is important is, how do you do that? What are the tools? What are the things that you can do to re-engage with your sphere? And one of the biggest ones that has been very, very underestimated is the lunch.
Oh.
I mean, it's huge. You ask them to go, hey man, it's been a long time since we've talked. Let's go to lunch. And I've gotten so much business out of the lunch than a lot of the marketing that I've done. And it's something that's so elementary, but I just keep forgetting to do it, and I'm like, dude, I love to eat, man. I'm on keto. So whatever, let's do this. Like, I'll eat chicken wings all day long, but it's like one of those things where you just kind of like, oh yeah, I guess I could just call people out to lunch. And I will tell you what, you can get more response from a lunch than you can get from, I think, any avenue. Like, people just underestimate the power of free food, dude. Like, it's like, and don't be that guy that's like, you get ready, or you get done eating and you're like, they say one ticket and you're like, I guess I'll take it. Then it's like, what was the whole, if you weren't going to take it, don't ask people out to lunch. Like, this is your marketing budget, dude. Like, come on. Don't be that, like, come on, man. If you ain't going to buy from me, you ain't going to send me no referrals, man. I ain't buying for your lunch,
That's hilarious. Actually, there is a book, I believe, or maybe it's just like what some guy says, but you should never have lunch alone. Like, that can be an easy goal to accomplish in your year. And it's actually, based on what you're saying, which I totally believe it, probably gonna be one of the most profitable goals you can have, which is just don't eat lunch alone.
Yeah. You can either be out to lunch or having lunch. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Cool. Yeah. So obviously your sphere, it's this continually growing thing, right? It's never just like, oh, this is my sphere and this is what it is, and it never changes. So it's constantly growing. It's going to constantly need your attention. And it's sometimes hard to provide that attention. But really, how can you actually stay in touch with them, even if it's, maybe they don't have time for lunch? And a lot of that, I believe, comes from actually smart technology use and making sure that your CRM or whatever you're using is actually on par with what you're trying to accomplish. Would you agree with that?
Totally.
Yeah. So like one of the things that I always have my clients do before we start re-engaging with old leads is they actually need to go through their database and kind of pick, what's trash, what isn't, and figure out, how are you going to sort these types of people? Like for instance, one of the CRMs that I use all the time, I love it, I recommend it to everyone, is Follow Up Boss. And they have this little section called stages. And the stages can be like, hot prospect, a new lead, a buyer, seller, your sphere, past client, trash, archive. I think that's probably all of them. And that's such an easy way to organize things, but I don't think people follow through with that. Is that what you've experienced?
Yeah, I mean, if there's one area that most real estate agents don't do is follow up.
Yeah.
And the thing about CRMs too is like the best CRM to have is the one you're going to use. I was listening to a podcast the other day and this guy was like, so I use this thing on how to get a hold of people and follow up with them. And so then the host of the podcast was like, oh, we're so excited to hear what kind of system you're using. And he basically goes, I got 15 envelopes. And I was like, what? And he's like, basically on Mondays, I do all my follow-up calls and I just move people through the folders. And I was like, dude, come on. It's the 21st century. I get that. Yeah, you've had some success with that, but you can have so much more success if you just use technology, man.
Seriously.
And so I'm like, 15 envelopes, you can't scale that. Like,
No.
it's like, hey, you guys join my new follow-up system.
Yeah,
We're gonna
right.
send you 15 colored envelopes in the mail for only $19.95. And I'm like, listen up, dude. I ain't spending money on nothing. As a matter of fact, I'm shutting this podcast off right now.
Yeah, seriously, don't follow that guy. You'll just get bad advice.
Dude.
But yeah, so like going through your database, actually organizing it the way it's meant to be organized, using technology beyond a few envelopes. Those are all super important aspects of it. And, of course, it's kind of a chore going through a long list of people. Probably a lot of them you haven't talked to in a while, but I feel like it's one of the more profitable things you can do just because you're not only reminding yourself of who's actually important, like immediately important, but you're also like setting yourself up for success in the future because it's all organization, right? I mean, no one likes, at least most people don't like to organize things, but I would say most everyone likes things that are organized.
Right.
So you need to take the time to go and do that.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, you can be a real estate agent or you can be a business owner.
Mm.
And with what you're doing right now is working to be a real estate agent, then don't show other people to just be a real estate agent because then you're doing them a disservice because if you're just a real estate agent, then you're just an employee. I mean, you're just your own employee. You might have some control a little bit over your schedule, but we all know that we really don't have control of our schedules. Our clients have control of our schedules. But if you want to build a business, then don't tell people to go get 15 envelopes, or 15 Nilla folders and just start shifting papers around because that's not going to get it done.
So what's the biggest difference or differentiation between the two for you? Business owner versus realtor?
So business owner is literally like you're thinking bigger picture, like, what at the end of the day is my exit strategy for real estate? Because you're, like any person, like whatever you want to do should be worth scaling down, and scale is a word for at scale. So meaning more of the same thing you're doing multiplied over time, over and over and over again. So like if you're going to build an organization, you know, whether it's a brokerage or a team or whatever it is, that you can duplicate that process over and over and over and over again with minimal interruption. So,
Right.
so you're using technology, you're using other people, you're leveraging your time, you know, whatever that is that you're multiplying out. And so you can do that at scale. So like if some company were to swoop in and say, hey, I want to buy your team, but I want to buy your systems and I want to buy your processes along with that, you know, then you have to be able to say, yeah, this is what I do. I have this, 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 and this, and this all in place. And it's driving my sphere of influence. It's following up with my sphere of influence. I ask for referrals out of my sphere of influence, and it's scaling out. So essentially what you're doing is you're creating a business within your organization that you're in.
Right.
So that way you're creating something of value within the framework of doing your real estate business.
Right. So versus someone who's just kind of taking everything day by day, no processes, no systems. They really don't have like a set plan for what the day is going to be. They just kind of take it as it goes. Is that like the differentiation?
Yeah, right. So instead of you get up in the morning and you're going to go do a deal, and instead of just doing the thing that you do to do your business, you're very conscious of the processes and the things that you're doing. And, you know, instead of like, well, I've just always done whatever, you know, well, you know, that's not doing whatever is not something that someone could say, well, show me how you do whatever. Well, you don't know, because whatever doesn't have a process, you know, and whatever is just whatever, you know, so everybody's looking around being like, I don't know how they're successful. Hey, tell me what you do. I don't know. I just do whatever, you know? And so then people are kind of going, well, I want to know what you're doing because you're killing everybody. You're kicking ass and taking names, and whatever's got to be working for you. So show me your whatevers, you know?
Right.
So that's kind of the idea behind that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So using technology was one of those things, but going through your database frequently, removing the crap, keeping things organized, and reminding yourself of who's actually important and keeping yourself up to date on those conversations. Another thing that I really recommend, and it's actually a pretty hard habit to get used to, but it can be super profitable, and it goes with the organization aspect, which is keeping notes and keeping notes in your CRM after you've talked to someone, you know, logging a call, logging a text message, because at the end of the day, you want to see, okay, the last time I texted this guy was, you know, 3 weeks ago. That's a hell of a lot easier if it's already just logged right there than going through your phone, scrolling down through all your text messages and seeing, you know, oh man, it's been 3 months since I texted him, or shit, I didn't save, my text history didn't save. I have no idea when I last called him. And then, you know, if you have a conversation with them, they're like, oh yeah, I have this friend who might want to buy a house soon, but you don't write it down and you don't log your call and you don't remind yourself that you need to go reach out to this person again because there's a hot lead, hot referral ready to go. You know, you're just shooting yourself in the foot by not doing that.
Well, and the thing too is like, people are going to go, holy crap, you remembered that from the last time you talked to me? You know, and then they're going to really know that you care. And it's not just about like, give me referrals, give me deals, give me.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you actually have, you're listening and you're vested into their lives, you know? And so I think that makes a big impact for people too, because they're just like, you know, I mean, one of the things too is like, we're doing this live broadcast right now. And then, you know, people are going to be like, oh, I love it when he's on, you know, we're doing these things and he's pushing it out to his sphere of influence. And, you know, we're out there, you know, keeping relationships open and stuff like that. So people can be part of your, you know, your daily lives or whatever, because I think, you know, being relational and being real and doing all these kinds of things just make a big difference, because there's so many agents out there that just are like, I don't do video, I don't do this. I send out a Christmas card once a year, and to me, that's just so like mundane. Like, I just think that people just like, they're just like, oh well, thanks that you remembered me because you have to, like.
Right.
You're like, oh, I had a few extra dollars, so I got some, Christmas cards to send out to my people, and I just think that that's just like, that's what everybody else does. So why? Like, I think creating content and doing things that matter to our customers, is the biggest contribution you can do. Like, for me, it's always like, do whatever is natural and that's easy. So when I'm out running, I do my live videos, which I didn't do this morning. So now I feel guilty about it because it was part of my thing. But when I got back from running, full disclosure, it was too dark out. So those of you that follow me on my personal page, that's why I didn't do video today. So don't yell at me, okay?
Yeah, make the excuse you woke up too early, or maybe your run was too short. I don't know.
Well, it could have been a couple of both of those things, maybe.
And the truth
so
comes
anyways,
out.
Moving on to the next thing. I was kidding. But I mean, ultimately it comes down to this, guys. If you're watching this and you're not doing any of these things, then you're not in touch, because there's only so much momentum you can create by trying to reach for the next deal. Whereas there's a lot of deals in the past that are just sitting there waiting. And so when you combine the clawing and scratching and the hard climb, there's an easy climb right behind you, because going downhill is way easier than going uphill. So as you're going uphill, try to find those deals downhill, because then, they can just be like completely handed to you, like, oh yeah, thanks for keep doing those videos. I watch you all the time, whatever. Hey, I just thought about you. Here's this deal. I don't want you to take care of.
Actually, this is a pretty cool point. I was just talking to one of my clients today about this, literally before this broadcast, about marketing to your sphere, like always being present. So omnipresent. That's like a key word, I guess, in digital marketing. In that, you're present on Google, you're present on Facebook, you're present on Instagram, you're present in their voicemail box, in their text message inbox, in their email inbox. Is that something that you've been like trying to do? Just always be present, like omnipresent everywhere, so they're always seeing you? Or are you focusing
and so like for me, it's more of, if the content that you're putting out is worth people's while, then it's easier to just broadcast that than it is to try to be cheesy and try to single people out and just do all that stuff. Because if it's worth it to them to listen to what you have to say, then you're contributing to things outside of just the real estate space. And then when they're like, there's this guy in little Cheyenne, Wyoming, that's putting out content like a mad fool up there. If you want someone that I worked with him personally. And so if there's something out there that is worth your while, you need to give this guy a shot, especially if he's doing these kinds of things with, for his own personal stuff or whatever, then how do you think he's going to market your property? Instead of just doing what everybody else is doing, put a sign out front, maybe do a little selfie photo in front of the house or something, doing all these cheesy things that don't get results when, you're doing things that are going to get results. And so, I'm going to tell a quick story real quick about a guy that I worked with. He was a for sale by owner. He wanted to do it on his own for a few months. And he just basically just told me, he's like, just be patient with me. Just be patient with me. I got to do it on my own timing. I said, yeah, that's fine. I could totally. And so I said, but just so when I market a property, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and what everybody else isn't doing, on top of all the things that people are doing, on top of this other thing that I'm going to do. That's a bonus. And so, he tried to sell it himself for, I don't know, 2 months, maybe 2 or 3 months. And then I jumped in. and I was running out of time because I was switching companies. And so I gave him a certain commission rate, and I said, if you do it this price, we'll do some things, and then if you do it at this one, I'll do this plus these other things. And then that was when I made the decision to switch brokerages. And then I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to go all in because I've got like 3 weeks to get this house sold.
Yeah.
And I put it under contract in a week.
Whew.
Just because I went all in, dude. I was like, I got to go all in, and so he was so appreciative of that. I was like, I know what we agreed upon, dude, but I got to go all in on this one. I'm running out of time. And he's like, oh, thank you. I appreciate you doing that,
Yeah.
And so now, I mean, I'm probably going to get some referrals out of it because, I just went the extra mile and said, I got to go all in. I don't have time to sit and cultivate this listing. I've just got to do whatever it's going to take to get it sold, and
Yeah.
so.
Well, there's actually a statistic out there floating around somewhere. Maybe you can attest to this or not, but like for every deal that you get should lead to 1.5 more deals. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. And it all starts with throughout the process, you're like, hey man, I mean, if you think we're doing a good job, I'd be happy to help any of your friends, family, relatives, or people that that might be moving into the area.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, this is a great segment into the next portion. And we kind of talked about it a little bit. So I know that you're like super into the organic marketing, which is really just you being you on your personal profile and just, you living your life, but helping other people experience it, I guess. One of the other things that I see all the time, people will they'll buy into like some kind of CRM, and the CRM company will promise them some sort of pre-written drip campaigns that they could just start up immediately. And then these agents never go in and they never touch them up. They never even know what they're sending to people. And it's like, dude, you are screwing yourself over so much just because it doesn't sound like you. People can read that. You get some spam in your inbox. You probably know it's not written by the person who's actually sending it out, right? Or that they're not sitting there and typing that message to you customly. Whereas if you just spend some time, because realize all this stuff is designed to save you time anyway. If you just take some time up front to go through your current drip campaigns and just update them, maybe add some stuff, do something different, try BombBomb, see how that works for you. Try video texting, see how that works for you. If you just go in there and make it a little bit more custom and it sounds real and it's actually up to date, you're going to have a lot better results from that because people are going to feel the authenticity from the work that you just put in.
Yeah, I think if people, if you just did 2 things, if you did video and you put closed captioning at the bottom of all of your videos.
Ooh, okay, so I actually totally agree with the closed captioning because every single time I'm on Facebook, I don't listen to it, but if it catches my eye, I'll read the closed captioning every single time.
Yeah, and I think if you could almost eliminate email altogether if every video that you got came with closed captioning, because you could literally
probably,
because if because I mean, now with these guys, everybody's got something like this in their pocket, and so when there's something interesting and you're at the restaurant, you just throw in your AirPods real quick, you watch it, you listen to it. And then if you got it in your phone and you're scrolling through and it's got closed captioning and there's a few interesting things in there, you might save it in your favorites and go back and listen to it later, because I mean, what's funny is as a society, we were a voice first society, right? We didn't have any technology. So all we had was our voices. So then we went from a voice society to a written society, where the majority of the things of good content were written down.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went from written to video. And then from video to just a digital platform where just you can absorb everything just in your pocket. And then it's funny because now we're trying to get rid of what's in our pocket and go back to voice.
Yeah, right. Actually, no, Facebook Live just announced audio live. So instead of, them being able to see us and like webcams and all that, right, it's purely just voice.
Well, and part of voice though too is you can consume it so much more conveniently.
Right. You can do it while you're driving. Big thing.
Driving, working out, working at work. doing whatever it is that you do, you can consume audio so much faster.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's just one of those deals where it's like, I think, cell phones are going to go away and everything's going to be on a watch and a pair of glasses and your voice, and some AirPods. It's all going to be just on you, like the technology will either be in you or on you, and so then you're just kind of be like, if I want to interface with somebody, I just pull my watch out and then the freaking hologram pops out of my watch. I can spin it around, do my little texting thing or whatever, and just push it back in there. And then if I need to really get too crazy and I want to like do some visual stuff, like my glasses will do auto tracking and I can look at a piece of art, then it just pops right up on display in my headset,
Yeah.
And if there's anything I need to listen to or have a conversation, I have my AirPods on. And then I can get this thing out of my pocket so I don't have to break a couple of those a year.
The future predicted by JP.
Write it down. You wait.
You heard it here first,
Elon Musk, if you're listening to this right now, I'm telling you right now, watch, glasses, AirPods, or smart headphones.
Yeah.
That's where we're going. So if you do something with that, you better put my name on it. Don't forget me. Don't forget the little guy. So, well, good, dude. This has been fun.
Yeah, I think this is actually a really good one. That's pretty much everything we got, guys. So let's just recap real fast. Your sphere is an ever-evolving group of people that are closely connected with you, that you can interact with in your daily life. To make sure that you stay involved with those people, you need to go through your database and keep it organized first off. But also, if you haven't been doing that, filter through the trash, get rid of that stuff because it's a waste of time anyway, and make sure that you're segmenting your lists properly. And then lastly,
don't segment with file folders.
Ignore the whole envelope thing. We're not going with that. A file cabinet I would say would be like next level, but still, come on, let's go with like Google Drive or something. And then actually updating your follow-up, the systems, the content, making sure that's up to date with you, with them, with the times. It has to sound real, it has to sound organic, and that's the only way it's going to work. And I think the big tidbit, take your people out to lunch and plan on buying for them too. That's good marketing spend and just a good time all around. I think that would help mentally. I think that helps people. That's all we got. JP, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, you can reach me at james.fluellen@gmail. You can reach me on Twitter at YOHomes. You can find me on Facebook at JP's Real Estate page or the Titan Real Estate Team page. You can also just Google JP Fluellen, because if you can't find me, then you're not looking.
I think that's a tagline.
Oh, and then you can also call me for a quick coaching call. I'm doing free coaching calls right now until my schedule gets filled up. 307-772-1184. And I will at some point get a Calendly link in the description of every episode where you guys can book a call with me for 30 minutes.
Beautiful. Yeah, guys, if you need to get a hold of me, go to the Facebook page. That's the easiest way to get to me. You can find my personal profile as well, or you can email me at chris.successagent@gmail.com. I am currently working on a new training platform or a coaching platform, whatever you want to call it, but it's really a combination of my effort, my expertise with your voice in your face to help automate all of your follow-up and get the most money out of every single lead that touches your database. So more to come on that. But otherwise, look forward to talking to you next week. And next week, our topic is actually going to be how to clear out your database. And maybe not getting into the nitty-gritty of it, but really focusing on like what you should be focusing on and getting rid of that crap. So, anyone who's in there actually matters. That's all we got for you guys.
Real quick, my book is coming out in 2019, The Real Estate Brain. It's going to be fantastic.
Beautiful. We got JP's book too. So yeah, we'll see you guys soon. All right. Catch you later, man.
Later.